This message comes from Scholastic with the new novel El Niño, an entrancing adventure from beloved and award-winning author of Esperanza Rising, Pam Munoz-Ryan. Jason Reynolds calls it a brilliant amalgamation of myth, nature, sport, and loss. I've never read anything like it. El Niño is available wherever books are sold.
Clark, the Tappert brothers, and we're broadcasting this week from the International High Roller Division here at Car Talk Plaza. Now, I find this interesting. I'm sure you won't, because you don't find anything interesting, actually.
No.
But apparently,
Yeah.
you ready for this? Rolls-Royce is up for sale.
Yeah, I knew that.
The company that owns it, a British defense firm, of course, everyone knows Rolls-Royce engines, aircraft engines. Yeah, powered all those Messerschmitts. Well, they've let it be known that they would like to unload Rolls. And apparently, the Grey Poupon, it rode in on.
Well, here's what I find interesting. The companies that have expressed interest in buying it, Automotive News, that reported this, said that here are some of the companies that are interested in buying Rolls-Royce. Some of them make sense, like BMW. That would make sense.
Sounds good,
right?
Yeah, sure.
But Volkswagen, what are they going to say? Golf too small for you? Move right on up to the Silver Shadow. I mean, come on. Mercedes, that sort of makes sense. Ford, I mean, I suppose they could make the new town car be the Silver Shadow.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
A little jump in price.
But I think GM is the best.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they could just call them Buicks. And that would be it.
They're looking for a new Buick.
Yeah.
They really...
Then they could say, wouldn't you rather have a Buick? And everyone would say, you bet.
Actually, I thought we should put in a bid for Rolls-Royce ourselves.
Yeah.
Then we can finally introduce that luxury car we've always talked about, the one modeled after your Dart.
Yeah.
The Rolls Canardly.
Of course. This is a very famous car. We've been working on this for years.
Like
Rolls down one hill and can hardly make it up the other.
Just like your Dart, man.
Thanks to Phil Bertoni, who invented that car for us.
Anyway, if you have a question about your car, you can call us at 1-800-332-9287. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
This is Mary from Makawao, Maui.
From Maui. How's everything in Maui? Is it 84 degrees?
No, it's cold here. It's about 72.
Bummer.
What?
Yeah.
That's what it is here in Boston. It's 72 in Boston here. So why should I come all the way to Maui? Well, all right,
really?
so it's 32. I was lying. Maui.
Yeah.
You don't have any problems in Maui. I mean, our impression of Maui is that there are no problems. How can there be a problem?
Well, my car.
We'll
I
fix
have
it.
this question.
Yeah, what is it?
I can't ask my husband, and I can't ask my mechanic.
Oh.
So I have to ask you guys.
That personal, huh?
Yeah. We have a Ford Windstar. It's a 1997. We've had it about a year now, and it's we have it on lease. You know, the lease with the option to buy.
Yeah.
One morning a few weeks back, I was in a hurry to get to work, and I grabbed my kid who had to have an X-ray on his finger. I work in a medical clinic. We rushed down the hill and get ready to park, and a car comes in with this radio blaring, and I was in a rush anyway. So I said, come on, kid, let's go. And we just got out of the car, slammed the door, locked it, and I went on into work. Maybe about 4 hours later, the security guard came and said, we have a report that your car is parked on the road with the keys in the ignition, and it's locked, and the car's
engine's running.
Yes. So my question
is... Mary.
how bad is that? I keep listening for every little sound to see if something's going to break.
Did you have a spare set of keys somewhere?
Well, this is the thing.
Yeah.
Fortunately or unfortunately, my husband, his workplace is like the next building.
Great.
So I just sort of snuck in there and said, I lost my keys in the car, but I didn't tell him where I left the keys inside the car. So I got it open and everything, and the dashboard felt a little warm.
Yeah.
But it hasn't made any funny noises.
Nah, it's nothing. Forget it.
Oh, good.
We won't mention it if you don't mention it.
Oh, good. Because see, the thing is, at the end of when the lease is up, we have to decide whether to buy the car or not. Is it to buy or not?
This will not have caused any problems because don't forget, UPS trucks run all day too,
and police cars,
all those police cars parked in front of the donut shops. Those engines are running constantly.
Oh, okay.
No, all you did was burn up some gasoline, but you didn't hurt the engine because when the engine temperature got too high, the thermostat would open and then the cooling fan would come on, and it would do that if you were stuck in. Now, if you lived in New York, you wouldn't have asked this question because typically New Yorkers drive like this every day. It's a tantamount to sitting in your car with the engine running for 4 hours.
Oh, no.
And you would have been carjacked.
The real
No, thank
question,
you.
though,
I'll
Mary,
stay
is,
here.
I mean, how often have you done this? Is this the first and only time?
Well, it's the only time that the
You admit
engine was
to.
running when I locked the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I've done this myself. I hate to
good,
admit it. I mean,
good.
I never admitted it to anybody, but... and
What,
I
you
didn't-
coming clean right today on the show?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have to go get another set of keys because my doors, fortunately, don't lock. But
And
it
he
is-
has no windows either.
The car
No
was
windows.
still there when you came back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've tried everything.
There were notes on it which said, nice try, buddy.
You think I'm going to fall for that one again? So don't worry about it, Mary. Everything's right with the world.
Oh, good. Thank you.
See you, Mary.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
1-800-332-9287. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi there. My name's Ed from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Hey, Ed.
Hi, Ed.
How you guys doing?
All right, I'm working on Minneapolis right now. MINNINNOIS. Okay. IS. What's happening, Ed?
Well, you know, guys, I was on my way in, and it was one of those crummy days, you know, where it's throwing up spray,
Yep.
and I ran out of wiper fluid.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Bummer.
Okay, well, you know, and so I was peering through the windshield. But anyway, I whipped into a gas station. I hadn't had my latte yet in the morning, and bought a can of wiper fluid and put a whole gallon of wiper fluid in my reservoir tank.
Yeah, for the
Except it was-
radiator.
You're right.
Yes.
How did you guess?
Oh, hence the comment about the latte.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
boy.
What I did was, as soon as I got into the store, I pulled off the hose so it wouldn't suck it back in up as it closed, you know, as it cooled.
Cool. Excellent. Good thinking.
But you know, I'm wondering, should I have the radiator flushed and new set cooling put in, or
Well, I mean, it
what
probably...
do I do?
Was the engine already heated up when you got to the store?
Oh yeah. It was hot when I put the stuff in.
Yeah.
So
So
none of it made its way back
it
into the
never
radiator.
got sucked in. And even if it did, it wouldn't be worth worrying about.
No, because as we know, that stuff is mostly water.
Water.
And alcohol.
It's mostly blue water, and it's a little bit of alcohol, and that's it.
Okay.
But you didn't do any harm to anything. And you could, if you wanted to, you could flush out the cooling system. But I don't think it's necessary because the alcohol will mix in with the ethylene glycol, that 0.5% of alcohol that's in there.
Yeah.
And there's a little soap, I
The
suppose.
soap is the only problem because it might start frothing up. So if you see bubbles coming out of anything,
Right. If your tailpipe starts blowing bubbles, I'd be concerned.
So all I got to do is just somehow suck this stuff.
Well, you
out
can
of
yank
the,
that bottle right out. What kind of a car is it?
no, I was
It's
going to.
an 93 Dodge Caravan.
93. I think there are a couple of bolts that hold that in.
Yep.
And you can take those out and take the thing in the house and wash it out and fill it up again. And this time put antifreeze in it.
Well, actually, I was going to suggest a clever repositioning of hoses.
Oh no,
Oh,
no,
just
that's
Just leave the stuff right where it is.
See, you would do that.
That's a little bit too much.
Ed, don't listen to him, ever.
No, that thing comes right out. Dump it out.
But don't worry about a thing, Ed.
Okay.
Won't
Good
do
now.
any harm.
Thank you very much, guys.
See you later, Ed.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.
Guess what? The puzzler answer and more calls are coming up right after this.
This message comes from Wise, the app for doing things in other currencies. With Wise, you can send, spend, or receive money across borders, all at a fair exchange rate. No markups or hidden fees. Join millions of customers and visit wise.com. T's and C's apply.
Public media is facing the most serious threat in its history. Congress is considering a White House proposal that would eliminate federal funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which helps fund local NPR stations. This move would immediately threaten many stations' ability to serve their communities and could force some to close. Take a stand for public media today at goacpr.org.
This is Ira Glass of This American Life. Each week on our show, we choose a theme, tell different stories on that theme. All right, I'm just going to stop right there. You're listening to an NPR podcast. Chances are you know our show. So instead, I'm going to tell you we've just been on a run of really good shows lately. Some big, epic, emotional stories and some weird, funny stuff, too. Download us, This American Life.
Decades ago, Brazilian women made a discovery. They could have an abortion without a doctor, thanks to a tiny pill. That pill spawned a global movement, helping millions of women have safe abortions regardless of the law. Hear that story on The Network from NPR's Embedded and Futuro Media, wherever you get your podcasts.
Look, it's time for my brother to tell us what the puzzle was last week.
Come on.
Because I believe it or not, I don't remember it.
You don't?
No.
Well, you know what? I don't either.
Catherine!
I don't have any...
Wait a minute. I have a note here.
Wait, I have a little idea.
I have a note from Catherine.
I would say it was non-automotive. I don't have any idea.
I don't either, so I guess we can't...
We'll skip it.
All right. 1-800-332... Now, I have a note here from Catherine, which has jogged my memory.
Yeah.
Actually, this was a historic, folkloric, and pretty tricky little puzzle, I thought.
Yeah,
Here
keep
it
going.
is.
I haven't got it yet.
A few years ago, I was vacationing in upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
I was really on parole, but I call it vacation. And I found myself in a sleepy little town called Cold Springs.
Still don't remember it.
And whilst I was there, I went to an antique auction where they claimed to have some rare and priceless.
The sled.
There you go. Antiques.
Yeah.
I don't know how they were going to price them. If they're priceless, how can you put a price on them?
Yeah, well.
Well, they put a big price.
That's the challenge.
That's the challenge. Anyway, they claim to have stuff that collectors would really want, and one of the items that comes up for auction is a child's sled, a handmade sled, a wooden sled.
Yeah.
That the auctioneer claimed was made by none other than George Washington himself.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Norm Abrams.
Abram. Anyway, he turns the sled over, and carved into one of the wooden slats is, you ready for this? G. Washington.
Go ahead. No, this is an interesting question.
G. Washington, September 10, 1752. Now, I remember from 6th grade that the square root of 3 is George Washington's birthday, which is 1732.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would make him 20 years old, and it all fit, it all seemed right? And it was the reason at the age of 20, not having launched his military career as of yet, he was probably sitting around, what?
Making sleds.
When you were 20, you were driving sleds, but he was making sleds, maybe for his own kids or for, maybe little John Quincy Adams or one of those guys. Who knows who the sled was for? So I'm ready to bid like $20 on the thing. I figure, what the heck?
Shoot the moon.
When someone in the crowd stands up and says, "It's a fake."
Ooh.
He was right.
Yeah.
And how did he know?
Jeez. I mean, I remember when you...
Now, you could infer that George Washington didn't have any woodworking skills, but that information is not present in this little statement.
No, it isn't. Everything is here. I know. Everything is here. I mean, I thought of, when you stated this puzzle last week, I thought of things like his name wasn't really George. His name was like Ira. And it shouldn't have... or Gary. And it shouldn't have said G. Washington, but I dismissed that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows his name was George Washington. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the father of the country.
Yeah, so maybe he changed it, though, when he was 21. You know, I mean, I thought of stupid
Could have been,
stuff
but
like
that information was not there either.
That was information wasn't
the
there.
Information that was there
is the date.
There you go.
Okay, now 17... The only thing, I mean, this doesn't make any sense. How about there was no September 10th in 1752?
Exactly right.
No, get out of here! Of course there was a September.
Everyone overslept that day, and they missed the whole day.
The whole day.
No, in fact, the period of
No.
September 3 to September 12 was omitted from the calendar.
What are you
in
talking
1752 by worldwide decree. They decided to skip those days to make the calendar correct. The seasons were not falling in the right time. The calendar had gotten out of sync with the...
No, that can't be...
Yeah.
I mean...
Everything had gotten
who
out
sent
of...
you this? Who sent you this?
G. Washington.
No,
Mount Vernon.
I mean, that would mean... I mean, even in today's world, with email and satellites, you couldn't coordinate something like that. I mean, how did they do it in 1752? It takes 6 months to get the word to Europe.
Well, they didn't decide this in a fortnight. This was
didn't.
the result of a conference which undoubtedly took place in Europe, probably in Trent. And it was decided a collaboration
Send
among
mail
world
to
leaders and
Raymond
the,
Magliozzi, care of this station. I don't want to have anything to do with it because this sounds bogus.
what was happening, quite simply, is that summer wasn't starting until August. And no, I mean, at the certain points of the calendar, we have the winter solstice, we have the spring equinox is supposed to occur at a certain date, and that date is determined by when the sun crosses the meridian, okay?
Yeah.
Or when the sun crosses the celestial equator, that begins spring. Mm-hmm. Except it wasn't happening on March 20th.
Well, why didn't they change that?
Well, they did by knocking off all these days. They fixed it just like that.
Bingo.
Yeah. Who's our winner? Come on. Let's not belabor this any more than we have to. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I can take it.
All right.
Jeez, I hope I'm not wrong.
The winner is
I
Alan.
can't take the embarrassment anymore. I really can't.
I don't blame you. The winner is Alan Stein from Kingston, New York. Al, you're going to win a copy of our latest album, a collection of our favorite calls about couples and their cars. It's called Men Are From GM, Women Are From Ford. And by the way, don't call the office and ask for these. They're only available through your station or through the Car Talk Shameless Commerce Division, whose number we give you at the end of the show. I mean, evidently, Dougie was on the phone all day getting calls about, can we get this album? And he doesn't even know what it is.
No, and he's probably interrupted his calls to his bookie. In the meantime, we'll take your calls at 1-800-332-9287. Hello,
Cool.
You're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Susie in Carlsbad, California.
With a Z or an S?
It's a Z.
S-U-Z-Y?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it.
Carlsbad, California.
Mm-hmm. And, well, I'm about to go on the adventure of a lifetime.
Really?
No kidding. You
Yeah.
getting married?
No. I'm going to drive a Volkswagen Vanagon from the...
You don't have to tell us where you're going to drive it. That's already the adventure of a lifetime.
Don't talk that way.
We thought you were going to fly value jet someplace.
Well, from the west coast to the east coast of Mexico, I'm going to end up in Tulum.
Tulum is where the Mayan ruins are.
Exactly. An incredible blue
Yes,
water.
and the Volkswagen ruins will probably be there, too, in a few weeks.
Yeah, you can park right next to the Mayan ruins. Maybe make a few bucks from the tourists. Want to see a Vanagon? Hey, want to see pictures of my Vanagon? Okay.
So you're driving from the west coast of Mexico.
Right.
Which is close.
Puerto Vallarta.
Well, actually, I'm gonna pick up my dad in Texas and then head down to the Gulf of Mexico.
So where is he in Texas?
He's in Dallas.
Ooh,
He's in
you got
Dallas.
Serious driving ahead of you.
So you're gonna drive.
Yeah.
You're gonna enter Mexico in like Matamoros or someplace
Right.
like that.
Yeah, that's our plan right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
Can you send me a couple of sarapes? And then you're gonna drive to the ruins.
Right. But I want to take, the appropriate supplies and then also know, what might I have to do to my car. And so right now I'm going to take like a small fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
And, an extra battery, jumper cables, pliers, cutters,
Yeah.
rope for towing, a full service tire, 5 to 6 quarts of oil, a filter,
Yeah.
25 gallons of water.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's for my mom. She's going to fly down and we're going to pick her up. And
why
she's
does she
gonna join
need
us.
25 gallons of water? She wants to float across? What?
Well, I want her to have water from the States.
Oh,
you know?
I see. Okay.
But tell me, what would be a typical repair that maybe I would have to do?
How old is this Vanagon?
It's an 87, but it's been rebuilt,
What's been rebuilt about it? The engine?
the engine. I have a German mechanic that I happened to meet before I bought this.
Can you bring him with you?
Right, maybe he would like the adventure of a lifetime too.
Yeah, that would be the best thing to do. So it's an 87 Vanagon. It's got a rebuilt engine. Did you have it rebuilt?
No, the people that owned it before me, but he is the one that rebuilt it.
Okay.
So, he's checking it out right now again.
Yeah. And how long have you had it?
What's his name?
Hans.
His name is Ronnie.
Now, how long have you been driving the thing?
Just a few weeks.
Just a few weeks. Okay. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? I mean, if you broke down and the thing wasn't able to be fixed right then and there,
Jackals.
you would just... Are they bad? No, I mean, it wouldn't. It would be even more of an adventure because that's what part of the adventure is.
Right. And I anticipate maybe that'll happen.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been somehow sucked into this theory that you go down to the airport, you get on the plane, and you end up at the place you're supposed to be at, and there's nothing that interferes. But if you stayed on the ground, a lot of things would interfere, and they would be what life was all about.
Right.
Instead of just getting from here to there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all for it. I think you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm struggling with how many things would I bring with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, I have no idea what it's like. I mean, is it desolate in the middle of the country there? Mexico City's in the middle of the country.
Well, I've been on driving trips there, right, but nothing this extensive. So I don't know. I've just been in bits and parts of, jungle roads.
Does AAA do this?
I've spoken with AAA.
What did they say?
Well, the guy I had, he wasn't very knowledgeable about Mexico, so I need to find another person. But there is emergency road service in Mexico. I think they're called the Green Angels or something like that.
Green Angels.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are the Green Angels.
Don't forget to bring your badge.
What badge?
In case someone says, we don't need no stinking badges. You'll have your badge.
Didn't you see that movie?
What?
Here's what you're gonna forget everything. Forget all the advice and all the questions. Go out and rent. Go to you have a Blockbuster video where you are.
Yeah,
right.
This is it.
Go and rent perhaps one of the greatest movies.
Okay.
That's
starring
Treasure.
Humphrey Bogart.
Oh, really?
Walter Houston. And
people we don't know.
I'll give you $100 if you can tell me the name of the guy that said we don't need no stinking badges. The name of the movie is The Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
Okay. Sounds good.
And it is guys who are doing exactly what you're doing. Sort of.
Kind of.
Yeah, that will tell you everything. It might be just the same now as it was then. How long a trip is this going to be, Suze?
Well, I anticipate about 10 days getting there, and then I have about 6 weeks altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to make it, you guys. It's sort of
I know you're going to make it. You're
Yeah.
going to have a wonderful time. This is a brilliant idea.
Mhm.
When are you going to do this? When are you leaving?
starting next week, a week from Friday.
You have to call us.
Can you call us from the road and we can do a little every couple of days? We can report on every
we'll
week.
do a little disaster log.
That would be great.
It would be fun, huh?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
that
you'll
would be great. You could keep us posted, and you could then write the definitive book on how to drive across Mexico.
Yeah, with your help, or we'd make a tape.
Sure, and whatever problems you have, we'll solve them on the air.
Okay.
Won't that? And we can airmail you parts.
That's a dream come true. Okay.
Let's do it. I love it.
All right.
I wish you the very best. Say hello to Mom and Dad.
Okay, thanks.
And have a great time.
Okay, thanks.
Talk to you next week.
Rent the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Treasure of the
Sierra
Carlos
Madre.
Bedoya.
Adios.
Adios.
Bye.
That's the name of the guy.
Carlos Bedoya?
I believe.
We don't need no stinking badges.
That's the guy.
They don't make better lines than that.
We'll be right back with more calls and the new puzzler after these messages.
I'm Tanya Mosley, co-host of Fresh Air. At a time of sound bites and short attention spans, our show is all about the deep dive. We do long-form interviews with people behind the best in film, books, TV, music, and journalism. Hear our guests open up about their process and their lives in ways you've never heard before. Listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.
These days, there is a lot of news. It can be hard to keep up with what it means for you, your family, and your community. Consider This from NPR as a podcast that helps you make sense of the news. 6 days a week, we bring you a deep dive on a story and provide the context, the backstory, and analysis you need to understand our rapidly changing world. Listen to the Consider This podcast from NPR.
Shortwave thinks of science as an invisible force, showing up in your everyday life. Powering the food you eat, the medicine you use, the tech in your pocket. Science is approachable because it's already part of your life. Come explore these connections on the Shortwave podcast from NPR.
On On The Indicator from Planet Money podcast, we're here to help you make sense of the economic news from Trump's tariffs.
It's called in game theory a trigger strategy, or sometimes called grim trigger, which sort of has a cowboy-esque ring to it.
To what exactly a sovereign wealth fund is. For insight every weekday, listen to NPR's The Indicator from Planet Money.
Radio back on. You've gotten us again. You're listening to Car Talk from
What a
National
shock
Public
when you-
Radio. We should start the show a half hour later.
When you're expecting
Once
to
in a
hear
while.
some nice classical music and you had to hear your voice. Come on.
Anyway, you are listening to Car Talk with us, Click and Clack, the Tappert Brothers, and we're here to discuss cars, car repair, and an unsolicited testimonial, perhaps.
Yeah. Sharon Holland, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Beep, 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 beep.
Dear Clinton Clack, the beginning of this is actually very funny. After several years without a television, during which my sole staple of entertainment was public radio, I got married. After 1 year of marriage, in which my sole staple of entertainment was my husband, I bought a television. That's not the point of the letter, though. We are avid fans of public television as well. And one evening while watching Full Circle with Michael Palin, is that how you pronounce his name? The guy who goes all around the world, 80 days.
Yeah, something
it's
like
a
that.
great show. I was surprised by an automotive choice with which you are familiar. Palin visited Bogota, Colombia, a city with the highest murder per capita rate in the Western Hemisphere. He joined up with a reporter who travels the dark and dangerous alleys of the city, investigating injustice, incurring the enmity of the drug cartels, risking his life daily, and entrusting his safety to an automobile he described as unobtrusive and reliable, a Dodge Dart. While this intrepid reporter earned my respect by his selfless pursuit of truth and justice, I recognize that there comes a point where bravery becomes foolhardiness. You make the call. Sharon Holland, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Well, we do know.
Unobtrusive and reliable.
We do know that they have bulletproof engines, if that is.
They
if that
certainly
carries any weight.
do.
Dodge Dart, huh?
I like that after a year of
I
marriage.
bought a TV.
I bought a TV.
Plus, you held out for a whole year. Not bad.
Not bad.
Hey, look, it's time for the new puzzler, and I
Yeah.
thought I would use an automotive puzzler, and this is a real bona fide, true story because it happened to none other than yours truly.
No kidding.
Has to do with my truck.
Oh.
I'll make it as brief. You know me. I mean, I am a fan of brevity and succinctness and getting to the point. I don't like to beat around the bush. I don't like to drag things out. I mean, I just like to get right to it because if you don't get right to it, you lose people's attention. And the next thing you know, they've changed the station. They're doing something else. They're raking leaves. I mean, who knows?
That's
So
right. And you've lost everybody.
I
So
think
it's always good to just get right in there. Yeah.
There you go.
If you got a puzzler to tell, man, tell it.
Oh, the puzzler. My son comes to me a few weeks ago, my older son, Louis, who drives my truck, and he says, Dad, there's something wrong with the truck. I say, what, out of gas again? And he says, no. He says, I start the thing up in the morning, and I drive it. And he said, and the radio stops working, and the tape player won't work. The whole thing is dead. He said, and I drive it for a little bit, and it comes on all by itself, and it goes off. So I decide to fix it.
Sure.
So I take the thing into the shop one day, and I notice as I'm driving to work,
tape player stops working.
But I do notice something interesting. When I step on the gas, it stops working. When I take my foot off the gas and go to step on the brake, it comes back.
Oh.
I take my foot off the brake, I step on the gas and accelerate.
No kidding.
Goes out. I said, huh.
See, now, he didn't notice that because he doesn't have the fine skills.
Right. He's not tuned in. He couldn't tune in because the radio wouldn't even work. So he wasn't tuned in. So I discover this and I say, ha! There's got to be a loose wire under the dash. And when I step on the gas pedal, somehow or another, the throttle cable is moving this wire. When I take my foot off the gas.
Yeah, it'll be a piece of cake to fix this baby.
Piece of cake. After 2 hours under the dashboard, I had the worst headache and no solution. And in fact, I determined there is no loose wire and there's current getting to the radio. And in fact, the whole time I'm in the shop, I've got the key on and I'm moving everything around.
Nothing.
The thing works perfectly. I cannot make it not work. So I say, I gave up on it that day, and on driving it home, it, of course, did the same thing. And I noticed that when I pushed in the cigarette lighter, the radio worked. I pulled out the cigarette lighter. The radio stopped working. I push in the cigarette lighter, and I'm holding it in. I'm holding it in, Jerry. The radio's working the whole time until the cigarette lighter fuse blows. The radio stops working. I said, Sonia, Henny's tutu.
Wow.
I continue driving home, and I realize that I can't see.
You've gone blind.
I've gone blind. A non-functioning radio causes blindness, and I can't see because I have no headlights. Both of my headlights are not working.
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence, I think, until the light bulb goes on, and I realize what's happening. Now, I could give you a lot more clues.
No, I got
think
plenty.
That may be enough.
I've got enough. It's enough for me.
Well, why didn't you tell me what was wrong with it? It took me another 2 weeks to figure it out.
Yeah.
So if you
Great puzzler.
Well, maybe. If you think you know the answer or you just have nothing to do at work and you feel like taking a stab at this, mail your answer to Puzzler Tower, Car Talk Plaza, Box 3500, Harvard Square, Cambridge.
Our fair city.
Ma 02238. Or, of course, you can email us your answer from our website, cartalk.msn.com. Just click on the Talk to Car Talk section. And if we choose your correct answer at random from among all the correct answers that we get, you'll get your very own copy of our brand new CD called Men Are From GM, Women Are From Ford, or some other gift from the Shameless Commerce Division's Holiday Boutique.
Ho, 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 ho! I mean, ho, ho, ho!
1-800 is our number, 332-9287. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
This is Deborah.
Hi, Deborah. Is that with a D?
Yes, it is.
Where are you from, Deborah?
I am calling from our fair city, Jamaica Plain, Boston, Massachusetts.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You know, I've noticed that there are some people who have the name Deborah
Yeah.
who don't mind being called Debbie.
Oh, I hate it.
And there are others, like yourself, who absolutely hate it.
Hate.
Is Deb okay or Deborah?
No, that's great. Deb's fine.
Anyway, Deborah, what's up?
Okay. I just bought my very, very first car. It's an 89 Honda Civic, and it's got 155,000 miles on it.
Ooh.
I just learned how to drive stick, so I'm not great at it. I'm really bad at it. So I stall and I lurch and I buck all over the streets of Boston.
It's all right.
And I'm driving the stick. Well, people are beeping at me in the rotaries.
Pay no attention to them. Pay no attention to them whatsoever. Wave to them. I'm sick of everybody being in so much of a hurry.
Right. You don't even have to use the whole hand. Just one finger will be enough.
No, I mean, enough.
So my problem is...
Just open the window and yell out, "I'm having a problem here!" And then maybe they'll back off.
Well, the problem is that the car makes this really loud whining noise, and I'm not so worried about it that the car's going to blow up, because the previous owner, who's a friend of mine, told me that, you know, it's been making that noise for years. She's brought it into the shop a million times. Every time she brings it in, you know, it stops making the noise, and the mechanics always say, "Oh, it's no problem. There's nothing wrong with it." So,
And under what circumstances does it make this whining noise?
wet, when it's raining or wet or snowing. And
Really?
actually, sometimes even when it's not, when it's dry.
And does it do it when you're just sitting stopped, or
No,
accelerating, or when?
When I'm going into first or second gear, when I'm just starting up.
So you've put it into first gear.
Yeah, and it
you're
makes
stepping on the gas.
Yeah.
Have you let out the clutch yet?
Well, you forget?
You're attempting to let out the clutch.
Right.
And as you do that, it goes.
Right, exactly.
So this friend of yours, it's good. I mean, you're still speaking to this friend.
Well, it depends.
So you could find out from this friend if he or she, is it she or he?
She.
If she, like, ever replaced the clutch.
Oh, I replaced it two weeks ago when I got it.
Oh, because you burned out the first one.
Oh, you did. Great.
Well, she sold it to me for $200, and it needed a new clutch, and she wasn't going to repair it. So I kind of took it off her hands and repaired the clutch.
I understand now. And the noise was there both before and after the clutch.
Exactly.
Well,
So we're going to eliminate the clutch as a possibility.
Good information. Good information.
Yes.
But
is it just like a short little woo like that, or is it woo?
No, it's long. It's like a high-pitched whining, like...
Yeah, and when you take your foot off the gas, it stops almost immediately, or it comes down?
It's regardless. It just kind of winds down on its own.
Jeez, I
Boy,
mean...
Deborah, that's good. I have no idea.
Well, I will...
Belt comes to mind.
I'm going to make a confession here.
Okay. You weren't listening.
I dozed off for a few minutes. So,
well, don't worry. I mean, we were only talking about Deborah's friend.
Does it make the noise if you're not moving?
No.
Does it ever continue making the noise, or after you've come to a stop but the engine is still running?
Yeah.
So you can't initiate the noise,
and it will remain there until it finishes doing what it's doing,
exactly.
Even if she stopped.
Exactly.
As though something is spinning around.
Exactly.
And it's got to finish spinning.
Exactly.
And there isn't a single piece of the car that does this. And that's why we're struggling here. Jeez. Where do you live?
Just as long as the car's not going to blow up.
Well, no, the reason we're working so assiduously on it is the car could blow up.
What part of Boston do you live in?
Jamaica Plain.
Can you get over here in half an hour? Gee,
I have a funny feeling. That it really doesn't have much to do with the transmission or revving the engine or whatever.
You don't think so?
No, I have a suspicion it is a faulty timing belt tensioner, which will I don't know why it behaves this peculiarly, but that's the kind of noise that a timing belt tensioner would make, a faulty one.
I like it. I'll go with it.
And it'll stop making the noise. It's got ball bearings in it. And every once in a while, a bearing gets in the wrong place, and the thing will and just stop.
I mean, it would be nice if you could bring it somewhere and make the noise happen when someone could listen.
Well, this explains why they haven't found it,
right.
Number one,
Yeah.
because it's kind of hidden.
Right.
And it also explains, it satisfies me that it is this because
right.
the noise is initiated by revving up the engine.
Right.
Yes, I like that.
And then it continues to do it even after you've slowed the engine down because it's going to, that ball is going to get back into place or get chewed up enough to stop making the noise.
Ooh, it's good.
They're going to have to take off the cover. There's a plastic cover.
So this could be bad.
It could be bad because if the tensioner goes bad, the belt breaks and all hell breaks loose.
How much is it going to cost?
Oh, it's cheap. And while they're at it, they might as well throw a new timing belt in there.
A new
If this is what it is.
And it is.
And you don't do it.
Yeah.
And the timing belt breaks as a result of it.
Yeah.
It's goodbye engine, goodbye car, maybe goodbye Deborah, and
hello MBTA.
and certainly goodbye friend. So I would definitely have it looked at.
All right.
If my brother is right, and I like it only because I don't have anything else to suggest.
Okay.
See you, Deborah.
All right. Thanks so much for your help.
Good luck.
Okay.
Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Happy driving, and I hope I don't drive on you any place that you are driving.
Well,
don't drive like my brother or Deborah.
It's happened again. You've squandered another hour listening to Car Talk. Our esteemed producer was Doug the Subway Fugitive, not a slave to fashion, Berman. Our associate producer and Dean of the College of Automusicology is Ken Babyface Rogers. Our assistant producer is Catherine Crystal Ray. She's been elevated to assistant producer? Since when?
She's been demoted to assistant producer.
Demoted. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Our engineer is Jonathan Marston. Our technical and spiritual advisor is Mr. John S. Lawler. Our public opinion pollster is Paul Murky of Murky Research, assisted by statistician Margin Overa. Our director of New Cheatham and Howe and WBUR in Boston.
And even though Carl Castle momentarily loses his composure every time he hears us say it, this is NPR, National Public Radio.
Support for NPR comes from NPR member stations and Eric and Wendy Schmidt through the Schmidt Family Foundation, working toward a healthy, resilient, secure world for all. On the web at theschmidt.org.
Congress is considering a rescissions package from the White House that would claw back more than $1 billion of public media funding. Federal funding for all of public media amounts to about $1.60 per person per year. That helps bring you the news and podcasts you rely on from NPR. Please take a stand for public media today at goacpr.org.
Fall in love with new music every Friday at All Songs Considered, that's NPR's music recommendation podcast. Fridays are where we spend our whole show sharing all the greatest new releases of the week. Make the hunt for new music a part of your life again. Tap into New Music Friday from All Songs Considered, available wherever you get your podcasts.